And here we go. We are live, second official live of the year in 2026, and we have a lot of news in the rundown today, including I do not have chapstick, and it's one of those days where like I can feel it, especially as I'm talking. So we're gonna get through this thing. But first, as always, tell me a little bit about who you are, where you watching from, and what is the favorite thing that's happened to you in the last week or so. It's been a really exciting week. There's so much in the news, so many things happening across Metro Detroit, so many good things happening across Metro Detroit, and we're going to get into that and a lot more. Oh, shoot, I'm not even on the comments. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's see, who do we have? We got Jason from Novi. Jason, how you doing, man? This is, I think, your second week in a row. It is not your second week in a row. This is the first week in a row. There was another Jason on last week. Tell me, again, who you are, where you're from, where you're watching from, where you're streaming live from. If you're here in Metro Detroit or you're somewhere else in the world, I'd love to know. Let's see. Oh, I've got Stacy from Royal Oak. Stacy, I'm actually in Royal Oak myself, and we've got a whole slew of news going on here in Metro Detroit this week. It is a powerful week. Okay. A couple more people are chiming in. Very cool. All right. Well, as always, we're going to go over everything that's happening in Metro Detroit over the last 7 days. And I'm going to start right here with these British TikTokers that have landed in America. This is the British invasion. This is actually really cool. It's Josh and Jace. No, I was also known, one of them, I think it's Jace, known as the accent guy. I've literally like on my post, they have been tagged over 300 times on my own Instagram, Facebook post. Let's bring this up on the stage. Okay. So British TikTokers are in awe of the Great Lakes swells, brutal cold, giant potholes, and homemade ranch. Okay. Now check this out. I actually have the video. This is going to be so cool. All right. So let's remove that. Let's bring me back full screen. And I'm going to show you the video of them actually going to Lake Michigan. So let me grab that. Give me 1 second here, guys. This is new technology for me. Boom. There it is. All right, let's share that. All right, so these are British TikTokers that have landed in America, and they've been going up and down the west side of Michigan. I'm really hoping they make it to the east side of Michigan. They have been tagged in my post over 300 times. If you look at my post over the last 2 weeks, it's just Josh and Jace, like over and over and over, or the accent guy. That's also what they're known as. And these guys are having a bloody marvelous adventure here in Michigan. I'm going to bring this up and show you exactly what they've been doing. So this is their reaction to Lake Michigan. It is amazing and hilarious all at the same time.
The Great Lakes for the very first time. Let's do it. Look at the size of these waves. What on? Oh God! What?
We're not even at the lake yet. Look.
What? Oh! What is?
What? No, seagulls. You're telling me that's not a sea? That's not a lake gull, is it?
A lake is a lake gull. There is no way you're telling me that is a lake. That is that is the Pacific Ocean, mate.
Yes.
We are about to see the Great Lakes.
I love this so much. I love this. I love their excitement, their enthusiasm, their attitude. Let me know what you guys think. Have you guys been following Josh and Jake? Have you guys been following them chronicling West Michigan? They made it through Saugatuck and Grand Rapids and a couple of other places. They've actually been to a couple of places that I've been to and I love so much as well. Oh my God, these guys are so much fun. I think they're a hoot. And of course, in the news, the one thing that we have to talk about, let's go ahead and get this one up here and get it ready. Because this pretty much broke the internet. This week. There we go. So donations for the suspended Ford worker have now topped $800,000, $811,000 when the GoFundMe page for him actually closed down today. Let's bring this up there. There we go. All right, so here's the backstory. President Trump came and spoke at the Detroit Economics Club, and while he was here, he went to the Ford Rouge plant. A heckler yelled at him. President Trump ended up yelling back and maybe made a hand gesture. I'm not political, guys. I'm just stating facts as they happened. And then and then he got suspended from his job at Ford. While in suspension and an investigation was ongoing, a couple of people decided to set up a GoFundMe page, and that GoFundMe page quickly grew to over $800,000. In the first day alone, it was $400,000. And there was actually a pro wrestler. I don't remember his name. If my editor can get it on the screen during the recut, there's a pro wrestler that donated $5,000 as well. And again, not a political post, guys, just telling you what happened in the news in Metro Detroit this week. I think this is absolutely bonkers and nuts, especially when we're on such a big week for news. Somehow this one has risen to the top. I've seen literally a dozen articles on this. So I guess people like to see this, so it's important, so I got to show it. What I'd rather do is move on again to better news, because I always like to discuss what's going on in and around Metro Detroit each and every week. Tune in and don't forget to subscribe and then like this video so more people can see it. And again, guys, tell me where you're tuning in from. Are you here in Metro Detroit? What city are you coming in from? Throw a comment in there. I'd love to see where you're from, and I'd love the participation. Also, any questions that you have or anything you want me to speed up or slow down on, let me know, or any news that I'm missing. I'm always in for it, guys. Always in for it. Okay, this next story is actually going to be pretty cool. This one is near and dear to my heart. So I live in Royal Oak, Michigan. As many of you know who have followed my journey and have followed like who I am and what I do, local real estate agent here in Metro Detroit. We sell 1,000 homes a year, all the things, right? But every year I do two things. From Royal Oak, I run downtown. I run through downtown by Comerica Park, past the DIA. I guess that's reverse order. And then I run down Jefferson and I go to Belle Isle. Sometimes I run back. Most of the time I just take an Uber because that's like 24 miles, 25 miles. Or I'll bike downtown, spend the day on Belle Isle and come back. But Belle Isle, here it is. Belle Isle Conservatory has rebranded themselves as Detroit Joy and Detroit's Backyard. $170 million update. Look at this thing. Now, first off, that is a gorgeous picture of Belle Isle. It really is. And that's not the only article we have on it. These guys have rebranded themselves as Detroit's Backyard with a brand new website and everything. Their goal is to be the place that Detroiters go. Now, what I think is so cool about this is Belle Isle is actually bigger than Central Park, and a lot of people don't know that. Belle Isle is significantly bigger than Central Park. You can bike the whole thing. It's got the Belle Isle Aquarium, which is one of the oldest aquariums in the United States, and frankly, one of the most beautiful ones. If you haven't been there, you should definitely go. They've got a little mini science and nature center, which is cool, and of course, they've got Belle Isle Beach, which I've been on several times. I biked on and actually swam out from, and brought sea-doos to, and all the things. If you guys have not been to Belle Isle, guys, actually put in the comments below, what is your favorite memory from Belle Isle? Do you have a favorite memory from Belle Isle? When was the last time that you were there? Another great memory of Belle Isle is that Belle Isle, and I don't know if they're going to do it this year because I hear they're going to change the run route, but if you run the full free press marathon, and I've done that one a couple of times, it goes over the Ambassador Bridge and then back through the tunnel, which is very cool. Or if you run the US only half, which starts a little bit later in the day than the international half, you actually run up Belle Isle, you go around, and then you come back down, which is, I think, a very cool thing. But again, throw in the comments anything that any of your memories about Belle Isle. And I'm going to switch on right over to the next one on Belle Isle right now. Let's remove that. And I'm just going to go straight into it without a cut or delay or anything. There we go. Share the screen. There we go. And as advertised, Belle Isle Conservatory has updated their new brand, their new website, and now they're known as Detroit's Backyard. Let's take a look here. Do we have another photo? Okay, we've got a great aerial shot. That's wonderful. And of course, we don't have any other great photos, it being the middle of winter. And guys, tell me about that. How are you doing in the snow? Comment below. I mean, did you have the kids home today? Were you able to get out and about? I know later in the afternoon, it felt pretty good. Trying to get to the office today, though, was a bear. Again, I live in Royal Oak. My office is in Novi. It literally took me like an hour and 15 minutes this morning to get to the office. But it only took me 25 minutes to get downtown for the Detroit International Auto Show, which I'm going to talk about on this as well. I was able to get down there today and get there. And why? Because we got press passes. Oh, yeah, baby. We got press passes. Okay. So again, guys, throw in where you're from, where you're watching from, any questions you have about Metro Detroit, anything that you want to see as far as news goes, because I always want to do that. We're talking about the Belle Isle Conservatory. That was our next up, what do you call it? News article for the week, and we cover everything happening every single week, everywhere in Metro Detroit and Detroit. All right, so here's a little bit of news. Not the most popular story of the week. It probably should have been. I mean, we had the Ford worker. We got a couple of things going on. We got the Brits invading. We already talked about that a little bit. But now we're going to be talking about the 16th president. Okay, so University of Michigan has now welcomed their 16th president, and this is not somebody unfamiliar with U of M. He had been teaching at another university for a while, but he actually went to U of M University, the University of Michigan. He's an alumni, and he was the dean of the law school for several years, which is very cool. So we're hoping that this is going to be a really, really good addition to the University of Michigan. I think it will be. Comment below what you guys think. I think his leadership is going to show growth and frankly steadying the ship as the new dean. Which is actually what's really needed for U of M, because U of M has, of course, had a couple of negative things happening lately. But let's take a look at the salary, guys. $2 million, and then a 30% bonus up to $600,000. So he could be making $2.6 million. He's also going to receive, of course, the university benefits, which includes an airplane. He's got a private jet now. How cool is that? And tell me below what you guys think about this. Is this an egregious salary? Is this a good salary? Is this where it should be to run frankly, what I think is the best school in Michigan? And I will fight you, State fans, because I am a U of M fan. Go blue. And Ohio State, you don't even have a dog in this fight, by the way. If you're Ohio State, by the way, go ahead and put it in the comments so that everybody can roast you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, so close to saying go Buckeyes. So close. So the previous person that held his role, the 15th president, was being paid $1.3 million. Plus, of course, bonuses that could have gotten him up to $2.2 million in total salary and benefits. However, that person, whoever, I cannot pronounce their name, did not actually perform at that level. So he actually had received 0 bonuses. Go figure. All right. All right. Let's move on to the next thing. And while I'm getting this one up on the screen, guys, tell me where you're from. Where in Metro Detroit are you? Ooh, there we go. This is actually a pretty good one. All right, let me get that off the screen and then get the next one on the screen. All right, all right, all right. And I've got 2 stories about this lady today. And if you know, you know, Mary Sheffield. This is story number 1. So she went ahead and toured the auto show. So Mary Sheffield toured the auto show on Monday, even before the press got to get in there. And she has come down to what her favorite vehicles were. And her favorite vehicles were the Jeep Grand Cherokee, which is very cool. And then one of the Ford Mustangs, I don't even know which one it was. And that's very cool as well. However, I got to admit, I am so sorry, Mary. I respect you. I hope you go on to do wonderful, wonderful things for our great city of Detroit. We are rooting for you. I don't care what side of the aisle anybody's on. I'm rooting for her because I really want the best for Detroit, simply put. But Mary, you're wrong. That was not the best car at the auto show. And I did actually make you a collaborator in the post when I did mine. I am going to show you my family what the best car at the auto show was in my own opinion. And I actually did a little bit of a reel on it. We're going to play that for you. And I actually called her out on it. I did. I so did. Okay, let's add this one to the screen. Oh my gosh, come on, share screen. Work for me. There it is. Okay, this was my personal favorite vehicle at the 2026 auto show. This is not the only story, too, I have on this. Here we go, guys. At the 2026 North American International Auto Show, I think I found my favorite. I understand Mary Sheffield. She likes that Jeep Grand Cherokee, but I like my Escalade, and I'm glad I've got it on order. All right, guys, we are literally about to go for a ride. I'm not driving because I'm a terrible driver in the Cadillac that I currently have on order. Now, I've got the gas version, but check this out. The screen goes all the way across. Well, how big is that screen? 55 inches. 55 inches, that's what she said. The screen goes all the way across. It's got a new touchscreen panel here that's new this year, which is great. It's also in the gas-powered version. We're in the long version. That is the electric. I cannot wait to get in this thing. I can't wait till mine comes in. It's been on order for like 3 months. General Motors. Yeah, it has been on order for like 3 months. I don't know what General Motors' deal is or what they're doing. But I've got another couple stories for the auto show. So the 2026 North American International Auto Show, which is the full name, or the Detroit Auto Show, whatever you want to call it, I was fortunate enough to actually be sent a couple of press passes to. So the past 2 days, I've been down there looking at all the vehicles, experiencing all the events, and just kind of seeing what it looks like now that it's moved back to winter. Now, talking to some of the other press people, it makes sense to me why it was moved back to winter. There we go. Public show starts on January 17th, which is in 2 days. It was moved back to winter, and I was talking to some people from some press from Nashville, some press from LA, some press from Florida. I was like, wow, I didn't realize the press would come that far to see it. So here's the deal with our auto show. Because we are the Motor City, our auto show was always first every year. When we moved it to summer, LA claimed that spot as the best auto show. Like they just jumped on that thing, as well as a couple of the other auto shows where manufacturers would have their really cool events and things like that. So we're going to lose the duck out front, of course, and we're going to lose some of the outside events because we're not doing it in late summer, early fall anymore. We're back into the cold, cold winter. As you guys know, oh my gosh, today was a bear weather-wise. But what we're gaining back is the prestige of being the auto show over the next couple of years. We're going to reclaim that title as the auto show here in Metro Detroit, as we should. So it opens to the public on January 17th. Press days were yesterday and today. Tomorrow, of course, is the charity event. If you have not been, I really can't comment on it. I have not been. If you have been, throw it in the comments. If you have, if you loved it, if it was worth it. I was looking at tickets and I was thinking about it and I was like, oh my gosh, it's $700 for 2 tickets. It just seemed like a lot. Now, it is for charity and specifically local charities, which I like. And Forgotten Harvest is one of those charities. And I really like Forgotten Harvest. My team and I go there at least once a quarter and we volunteer either at the Oak Park location. They're always looking for volunteers, guys. Plug for Forgotten Harvest. They're always looking for volunteers. Or they've got a farm that they lease for $1 per year out in Fenton, where they literally grow tens of thousands of vegetables. Like we planted 4,000 cabbage last summer, right? That's going to produce 40,000 pounds of cabbage for people, or it did produce 40,000 pounds of cabbage for people. It's actually a really cool thing to do. And whatever your workplace is, throw that at your boss and say, hey, we should probably go do a volunteer day because we need help here in Metro Detroit, making sure that we're connecting extra food that is going bad, but not bad yet, to the people in the community that need it. And I got to say this, when it comes to Forgotten Harvest, guys, they support 242 local charities, which is amazing. I will say this as well. Most of the people that are getting this food are not homeless. They're people that are living literally on the edge. And sometimes these extra meals from these soup kitchens or these food pantries or these churches or synagogues or wherever they're coming from is the difference in the tipping point for a lot of these families. They're good families. They work hard. I volunteered at a lot of these. And for some of these families, this is the difference on whether or not they're making it on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. Shameless plug for Forgotten Harvest, which is one of my favorite local charities. Okay, next up, we're bringing to the screen a couple of things that we did see at the auto show. So the Detroit 2026 auto show starts on the 17th. And there are 3 things I really want you guys to go see when you're there, when you go. Number 1, go see, is that the Ford event? Yep, it is. Number 1, go see the new Cadillac F1 car. So for the first time, Cadillac is entering a car into F1 racing, which is amazing. Cadillac has never done that before, but they're getting the honor to actually introduce their first car. So definitely go see that. This is a piece of history, right, that's happening right before our eyes for Detroit Auto. Number 2, go see the Jeep event. It's really cool. So there are 3 different things you can do there, right? There's the Grand Prix, the Jeep, actually 4, the Bronco. We don't want to talk about that. And then you can test drive some cars. I thought the Jeep thing was really cool because you're going on like some insane verticals, down some things, you're climbing over things. It's actually a really, really cool experience. Let me know if you guys did it last year. They've actually expanded it this year. There is a Bronco event that is supposed to be very similar to it. I am not even going to sugarcoat it. It's skippable. I know Bronco's like new at that. Ford is new at this whole event thing where they're putting people in the thing and they're taking them up and down all the things. So whatever. They got a couple years and then they'll get better. Number 3, Grand Prix has their own little mini space there where you can get into some really cool muscle cars and then speed down. It's kind of a makeshift track inside of Cobo Hall. Yes, I will call it Cobo Hall. I will not call it Huntington Place. I refuse. No. And then number 4 is I would definitely take the opportunity because there are several brands that have their cars that you can actually get in and drive around a track. You're not driving, they're driving you. That's where I test drove the was driven around in the Cadillac Escalade EQL, which is a very cool vehicle. And then also one thing that they did is an upgrade for that is you can actually open and close the doors from that center console thing that I showed earlier. Is it necessary? No. Is it cool? Yeah, it is. It really is. Self-opening and closing doors is cool. And of course, they've got several cars from movies and things like that. But here's the secret sauce, guys. Oh, that's a Secretary of State adopting a puppy. You can adopt a puppy on site. Yep, that's the Bronco event. Yep, couple concept cars. Oh, that's right. Yes. So they unveiled the new Abrams tank today at the auto show. So here's what this looks like. When you're looking at the auto show, look to the left. And if you run the turkey trot, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Go all the way down, go down the stairs. Don't go all the way to the windows. Go down the stairs. And then on the right is Hall E. Inside of Hall E, there's a whole second auto show that no one has even talked about. I didn't even know this. There's a second auto show inside the auto show that no one knows about. So you go down the stairs to Hall E, you make the right, and they're all private cars. So some of them have been heavily modified. Some of them are original. Some of them are exotic. Some of them are several $100,000. Some of them are just like beat up cars that have been through demolition derbies. It's all very cool stuff. But then when you walk to the back of that room, bam, there's an Abrams tank. Literally an Abrams tank, the new Abrams tank, which I also found interesting because I was thinking back, and I'm going to show my age here. I remember during like Desert Shield and Desert Storm, the Abrams tanks were the whole thing, right? And throw in the comments if you remember that. Literally, throw in the comments. But the Abrams tank was like 30 tanks that withstood something like 500 Iraqi tanks at that moment in time. That was like 94, I think, or 93 or 92 or 95 or somewhere, 96, maybe 97. I don't even remember. Somewhere in that general vicinity. It was when President Bush Sr. was president. But our tanks were amazing and killer then. And they have since iterated this tank like 7 times, which I think is amazing. They probably could change the name. They probably iterated enough to the point that they could change the name. But they unveiled the tank here in Metro Detroit, which is very cool. All right, let's move on to the next story. What else has happened in Metro Detroit now? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. So let's get that off the screen, remove it, get the next thing on the screen. How am I doing so far, Metro Detroit? How are you doing so far, Metro Detroit? Again, throw the comments, the likes. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you need a real estate agent, you know who to call. Call us. We are the Perna team, 8,000 home sales, 5,000 reviews, all the things. Okay. Jimmy John's Field in Utica is undergoing a rename. It's no longer Jimmy John's Field. It is literally going to be called UWM Field. And here's how I feel about it. Matt Ishbia, who I've met before, seems like a really nice guy. Don't know him personally. Matt Ishbia is literally buying everything and naming it after UWM. Now, okay. Pine Knob, he bought the naming rights to, but renamed it Pine Knob. But that's also because Matt Ishbia is a local Detroiter. He's from Birmingham, Michigan. He grew up here. His father was in the mortgage business. He went into the mortgage servicing business and the wholesaling business, should I say. One cool thing about him is when I visited the UWM campus and did the tour, there's a little burger joint in Birmingham, Michigan. I cannot remember the name of it. Hunter House. There it is. Hunter House. Some of his fondest childhood memories was him and his father going to Hunter House. So he got the rights to build an identical Hunter House on UWM's campus. So if you go there, you can actually go to Hunter House as well as a whole bunch of other restaurants, of course, because it's UWM's campus. It's like 10,000 people. Like, why wouldn't there be 5 restaurants and game rooms and all that stuff? But he bought the naming rights to Jimmy John's Field for the next 10 years, and he is renaming it UWM Field. No more Jimmy John's. It's been Jimmy John's as long as I can remember. But then again, I'm also a West Sider, so it's not a field that I'm very familiar with. Let me know in the comments if you've gone to this field, if it's something maybe your kid practices at or plays at. All right. So now we're going to the next story. Okay, this one's not the happy-go-lucky story that we usually do, but I feel like it's new, so we're going to go ahead and do it. Here we go. Let's get that up on the screen. Value City Furniture is closing the last of its 16 stores here in Michigan. So they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. All of their stores nationwide, of course, fall under that. It's uncertain whether or not Value City is actually going to come out of this okay. Just as a brand, as a company. It's currently for sale as well. Somebody might pick it up. 8 stores were already closed. The other 8 are on the way to closing right now, which is terrible. That's 500,000 square feet of space that's opening up. That's just going to sit there vacant unless another person comes and takes it, of course, or sublets it. But Value City has been facing a a lot of just financial troubles over the last 10 years. I mean, we can look at the local store like Art Van. Like a lot of these furniture stores are struggling. Now the luxury ones are doing well. So if you notice Restoration Hardware, which we covered a while ago, Restoration Hardware opened that behemoth in Birmingham. And if you haven't been to it, guys, I'm going to warn you right now, it is a beige store built for beige people. Like everything in that. I mean, comment if you've been there and you know I'm correct. Everything in that store, every piece of furniture, all the wall coverings, even the restaurant at the top on the rooftop, like literally everything is beige. There's no color. There's no blues. There's no pastels. There's no greens. There's literally no color in the entire store. Which my first walkthrough, I didn't even notice it. My second walkthrough, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm becoming a beige person. I feel beige like seeping into my being. But it is so sad. We were sad to see Value City go. I remember getting all of my college dorm furniture there. Comment if you've gotten a futon there yourself for college. That's a real thing, guys. Okay, now we got not one, but two of these restaurants opening. Actually, one already open. So let's get this one up on the screen. I have not actually been to either well, second location isn't open yet, but we're going to get this up here. Uno momento, por favor. There we go, guys. Chick Fil-a just opened their first door in Detroit, in downtown Detroit, this past week. I believe it was on Tuesday. And if you know the day, guys, go ahead and throw it in there. But Chick Fil-a is now opening locations left and right all across Southeast Michigan. It's over at 600 Woodward Avenue, which is right next to Campus Martius, which is a great location for them. So they're up to 42 locations in Michigan. They went from the one in Somerset. I believe that was the first one. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. The one in Somerset to the one in Novi to they're everywhere. Like literally, Chick-fil-A's are everywhere. But you know what they're not? They're not anywhere on Sunday because they still are closed on Sundays. And that's just a core value of that business. Comment below if you love Chick-fil-A or can't stand Chick-fil-A. I really don't eat fast food, so I don't really have an opinion on it. There's also a second Chick-fil-A in the works right there in Royal Oak over at the corner of Woodward and 13 Mile, which is right near Beaumont Hospital, which is probably a great location for those guys because you've got all that traffic going up and down Woodward, the ones crossing, going across 13 Mile, and of course you've got the big Beaumont Hospital, and a lot of the workers want to run out and grab something fast, and boom, Chick-fil-A right there. So there are two Chick-fil-A's, one that just opened and one that will be opening here very shortly here in Metro Detroit, bringing the total again in Michigan up to 42, which is a lot of Chick-fil-A's, and that was fast. Like that escalated quickly. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Okay, and then we've got some really cool attractions that are opening in Michigan, and this one, guys, is for the kids. For the kids. Oop, I don't mean to put Chick-fil-A back up again. As you could tell, this specific tech is a little bit newer to me. I switched over at the start of the year, and I'm still kind of getting used to it. So thank you all for bearing with me while I get this done. Okay, so boom. All right, let me move that just a little bit. There we go. All right, so there are 7 new family-friendly attractions that are coming to Metro Detroit and Detroit this year, which is perfect to take the kids to, and we're going to just do a quick rundown of each one. Thank you, Metro Parent, for posting this for me. First one is Little Owl's Play Cafe over in Heartland. So this is an interactive play space that offers Imagine a Play, of course, for kids. And then, of course, you've got to have a cafe with coffee for adults because they're going to need that. We've got the Bill Gilbert Family Foundation Water Wonderland, which is very cool. That's over at the Detroit Riverfront, opening spring of 2026. The other thing that recently opened, if you know or don't know, is Nick Gilbert's Way, which is where the Big Bear was for Christmas, which is very cool to go see. You can still go down there and get the bear in a bag, and you do get a green Hudson's bag if you buy 2 bears. I did. I intended to actually just show my mom. My mom was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for the bear, Mike. Thank you so much. I love it. I love the green Hudson's bag. So I don't have a bear, but I will be going back to get one for myself because I feel like it's a cool thing. I feel very connected to Hudson's. And then we got the Discovery Trails over at the Detroit Zoo. So this is actually cool. This is 7 acres that the Detroit Zoo's been working on. It's over on the west. Is it the west side of the zoo? Yeah, that would be the west or southwest side of the zoo. Like if you get on the Taubman train and then you start heading out towards the I guess towards the giraffes or towards the back. There's been that green space that's open there that really they really haven't done much with. They're going to be doing something like putting in like alpacas, a couple of marine animals. They're going to do a farmers market, which is very cool. And the trails include some play spaces as well. And if you know me, you know I love the Detroit Zoo. I love the events that they put on there every year. They've got Cosm downtown Detroit, which is finally breaking ground in 2026. This thing is actually really cool. So I think this is slated to open 2028. It says TBD. But this is an 87-foot dome. There are a couple of them already. I was able to experience it. I forgot where it was. Was it LA maybe? Or maybe Vegas, probably LA. But Cosm is really cool because if you want to go see a game, especially an out-of-town one, let's call it the Lions, or maybe the Red Wings because they're having a moment, or even the Tigers, who I think are going to have a great season. Comment below if you think so too. Go Tigers. Somebody put a Go Tigers in there, will you? I want to get that up on the screen. But if you want to go see it, but let's say it's not a town game, you don't want to pay for the flights or any of that, this is like a dome that completely covers you with tens of thousands of LED lights that makes you feel like you're in the stadium. I think that's so cool. And I really appreciate that Cosm is coming to Detroit now versus some of the other places that they could pick. There are a lot of cities that Cosm could have picked from, but they picked Detroit for the next location. We've got the Gordie Howe International Bridge opening up. Now, this is big news because this has been opening up for a while, but 2026 is going to be the year. They say it's going to be anytime between January and December. If you look at the website, I mean, that kind of defines the entirety of the year. So here's where we sit. Here's kind of the etymology or the history of this. So the Ambassador Bridge, which is owned by Maddie Maroon, accounts for 25% of all of the international trade between us and Canada. And Canada is our number one trading partner. Maroon has been fighting the Gordie Howe Bridge for literal decades because he's been raking in those holes as a private-owned bridge. Now, the Gordie Howe Bridge will be a second bridge, which will allow more commerce and a relief from all that congestion at the Ambassador Bridge, which is great. And it's actually been paid for in full by Canada, but Canada and the U.S. are going to split the profits once I think it's $13 billion loan is paid back, $13.1 billion. There are also 29 million man hours on constructing this bridge, if I remember that right. And then last but not least, we got the Georgia Keefe exhibit coming to the DIA. They're coming in September. This is going to be actually a very cool one. I saw this one at another one. And of course, as you guys may or may not know, the DIA is the #1 museum in the entirety of the United States. If you haven't been, guys, get down there. It is a wonderful thing to do. I went down there recently, not necessarily to see the exhibit, but just because I hadn't been in a while. I did go to the see Diego Rivera, of course, because I always stop there and I always find something new. So, fun fact, he signed that fresco in 4 different places. And if you look very, very close, you can find it. His signatures almost blend in. Second fun fact, every human face in there is somebody real. So, of course, there's Henry Ford. We all know that. But each one of the workers, a lot of them were either his assistant painters or one was his paint mixer. And then there is one red truck that symbolizes the Ford truck that they were making at the time as the end product. And of course, there are a lot of other things that happen around the Diego Rivera fresco. If you got any fun facts or tidbits, feel free to throw it in there. But when you go there, it is definitely, I think, worth the time to stop and find a dozen and say, hey, can you tell me just 1 or 2 cool things about the fresco that I otherwise would not know? There's a lot of knowledge and a lot of Easter eggs before Easter eggs were a thing in the Diego Rivera fresco, which is actually very cool. There was one that was also not commandeered, but commissioned by Carnegie. That was just Carnegie that was actually destroyed because he got so mad at it because of his depictions against the industrialist capitalistic society. Yes, he was a communist. And we got some new things coming to the Museum of Contemporary Art, which I haven't been to again in forever. And that's about it for that. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. What else we got? Oh yeah, that was actually pretty cool. Okay, so this happened a few nights ago, guys, here in Metro Detroit. Well, actually, it was in Detroit. Let's put that up on the screen. Boom. So Sergei Fedorov was finally honored, and Hockeytown felt like Hockeytown. They retired his jersey number 91, and they rose it to the rafters, as they should. Now, there was some controversy at the end of his tenure with the Red Wings. So he actually had not been back. He was not honored for several decades when he really should have been when other Red Wings were, but he was brought out and he actually drove a burgundy Corvette right onto what do you call that? Not the field, right onto the ice. I'll call it that. Right onto the rink. Thank you. And all of Detroit stood up and honored him for one night. Fun fact: he was actually an escapee from communist Russia. And if he did not escape out of communist Russia, him and his family, we would not have had that amazing hockey player that actually made Hockeytown Hockeytown. And there were some other great players, of course. You know, it's just like the bad boys. Like Isaiah Thomas was not the whole team. Vinny Johnson was not the whole team, but he was the microwave. Joe Dumars was not the whole team, but he was a massive part of the team and why we rose to such prominence and success. Yeah. And actually there was a really nice article about it right here. Let me get that on the screen so you guys can see it. I know. I tell people that he escaped from Russia and like literally nobody believes me. There we go. Sergei Fedorov's secret escape from Soviet Union helped save the Red Wings. Yep. We had him in Detroit before the Russians even knew he was gone. On July 23rd, 1990, Sergei Fedorov slipped past Russia's Iron Curtain and arrived in Detroit at the age of 20 to begin his NHL career. That is so crazy to me. It's crazy to me to think about people that lived during that time and what they had to undergo to either be where they lived without persecution or get out to a great nation like ours, to the land of true opportunity. That's amazing. Okay, so next one we've got is, oh yeah, this is an interesting headline. I feel like I've been throwing a lot of sass down tonight too. Let me know if you guys like the sass or not. I kind of like it. I'm going to keep with it. All right, guys, here we go. There we go. So General Motors has officially moved into their new headquarters. This thing, okay, so the Hudson building took about 5 years, went over by 2 years, went over budget by $400 million, but they finally finished it and they finally moved in, which is great. Now, the first thing that I've noticed on this thing, I'm going to pull up some more photos, is check this out. Tell me in the comments if you're thinking exactly what I'm thinking. I need to go to a different screen because I need a better set of photos. Let me get that down. Get that back up. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. All right, so I'm going to scroll through a couple of these photos real quick here. All right. Great. So these are photos of the General Motors new headquarters that were recently put out and published now that they're open. Okay, my first thought is this is the Marvel's TVA. It has that kind of 70s vibe. I was really expecting Owen Wilson to be in one of these photos. It has that, again, kind of beige, kind of 70s, kind of funky looking thing to it. Now, there's a lot of detail work with this, right? There's one, like on some of the doors, they've got the sounds that the engines make represented visually, which is very cool. They've got a lot of cool General Motors detail, nods to the past and nods to the future and their connection back and forth. But the only thing that I see Loki trying to evade the TVA. That's what I see. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, Metro. That's right. Yep. I think they're actually going to do the set of the next season here in Detroit at the Hudson Building. And if not, that is a waste. That is squandering a golden opportunity, Marvel. Squandered. Yep. There it is. All right. So the Hudson Building is finally welcome. General Motors finally in. Do I have more photos? Oh my gosh. I have more photos. Yes. Let's get those up, because these are actually pretty cool. All right, here we go, guys. Okay, so here are a couple more photos of General Motors' new executive offices at the Hudson Building. Oh, and there's the sound. So this is an audio profile created by the sound of an engine in the 2026 Cadillac Lyric V. And it's displayed on a wall inside GM's new executive offices within Hudson's Detroit. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. And yes, it's got that 70s vibe to it. There's an executive library, apparently. Oh yeah. So they did this really cool wallpaper in a couple of the rooms where any tape, any cassette that General Motors vehicles were mentioned in, like I took a Chevy to the levee. If anybody knows that reference, throw it in there. I'm not going to say it. Buddy Holly, of course. Green Day, of course. But anywhere where there was a General Motors vehicle reference, they took that cassette and that artwork and they actually made it into a wallpaper and put it up on the wall. I thought that was a really cool detail piece that they did. Yep. More 70s vibe. We could have a disco there. I think they actually turned into a nightclub at a disco after hours. There's some nice looking people that probably work there. That was actually pretty cool. That looks nice. Oh, another guy that works there, very excited about handing somebody something. Yep, another guy cozy kind of with the knee thing. I don't know if I like the kitchen. I got to work there though, so whatever. All right, I'm going to tell you right now, guys. Like as nice as this is, and this is upscale, and it has some glamour to it, and it's nice. This is not UWM's campus, right? Like UWM's campus is more like games and gym, and there's a physician on site and a hairdresser and all those things. That is not this. There is a gym in this building, by the way. There is. I don't believe it's part of General Motors having a gym though. They really, whoa. Yep. They went minimalistic. Yep. Throwing out those 70s vibes. Yeah, we're doing disco night at GM this year. There we go. That's awesome. Okay, so here's a little bit of news that was almost glossed over because it really didn't make big headlines this week. Some of you may know, a lot of you may not. Oop, come on, bro. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So several lots have been tested, and there have been lead and arsenic found in the soil that was brought in after homes were demoed to fill in the basements. Okay. Approximately 22,000 homes have been filled in at this point. There we go. Approximately 22,000 homes have been filled in at this point. And now they're just starting to find that several of these homes have contaminants. This is being traced back to one of two companies, which could face criminal charges and brought to court, which frankly it should be if they cut corners, because the soil itself is supposed to come from very, very specific places that don't have these things and have been pre-tested and documented. So the fact that at least 22 of them do is an issue. I'm sorry, more than 30,000 homes. Now, what does this mean? Are they going to have to test all of them? Probably not. But there is probably a significant number of them that do have lead and arsenic in it. And here's where the problem comes in. I mean, not only is it lead and arsenic, but you've got people like, did they have a photo of him? Nope, not this gentleman, but there was another gentleman that was interviewed that was talking about how he was going to buy the lot next door so he can grow his own vegetables. So now you've got lead and arsenic leaching into those vegetables that he was going to eat. He was going to feed his family. He was going to feed his grandchildren. And that is an ongoing problem for the city of Detroit. This has kind of quietly been swept under the rug because we knew about this. Not we knew about it, but the city was notified of this back in July. But reports are only being documented and published and being brought out to the public now. Why now? Well, I think conspiracy theory time, guys. I think we had a Detroit election going on, and we didn't want all this hubbub to happen because a lot of this happened under the former mayor's watch, and it could have influenced his candidate, the candidate that he picked, Mayor Sheffield. Now, again, that's a conspiracy theory. I don't know. It could just be mismanagement in one of the offices, which we all know has happened in the city of Detroit before. It's still happening right now. I love the city. I love how far the city's come back. I've been an ardent supporter of the city, and you can tell that by pretty much everything I do on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And yet, people make mistakes. So it could be just as simple as that. But we're going to have to figure this out and figure out how we're going to get these contaminants out, because now we're talking about millions upon millions upon millions of dollars of scraping this dirt out, and then who's going to pay for it? So far, both companies that could be liable have said, we're not going to pay for it. We did everything right. We submitted our reports. So now is that going back onto the taxpayers of Detroit? Well, we're going to find out in what will probably be a multi-year court battle, during which time nothing will happen, because that's what happens with court battles. Sad. Anyway, okay, moving on. Oh, I want that down. All right, let's talk about something cool. There we go. All right, guys. There is a new biography of a Detroit local, Elmore Leonard, that just went up for sale, and I personally am getting a copy, and I'm going to read it. Now, who is Elmore Leonard, may you ask? That's a great question. He wrote the books behind Get Shorty, Jackie Brown, The Big Bounce, Out of Sight. I'm talking like a young George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez. That was so good. So Elmore Leonard grew up right here in Metro Detroit. He went to UD Jesuit High School and Academy before there was an academy, because that was later on. I went to UD Jesuit. I actually had the opportunity to meet the guy. I read he wrote over 40 books. I must have read at least 30 of them. And one thing I love about his books is that the majority of them take place here in Detroit. So there are books where you're sitting there and you're reading it, and it literally describes things like the Rattlesnake Club and the photos and the paintings that are on the walls of the Rattlesnake Club. And you could be sitting in the Rattlesnake Club reading this book and look up, and there's the same exact painting that he had described, which is really cool. I really appreciate Elmore Leonard's nod to Detroit and Metro Detroit. If you remember, and it's an older movie, go back and watch it. It was great. Out of Sight. A large portion of it took place in Bloomfield Hills, where they were trying to rob one of the richer estates, which was actually very cool. Is there a picture of Elmore Leonard? Can we get one of those? No. All right. All right. But I just have a special affinity for this story because I went to UD Jesuit, and so did he. So anyway, all right, guys, let's talk about some food. Tell me if you guys like food. Who does not like food? We got a whole slew of things happening in the restaurant world, which is good. And our restaurant world is about to elevate to a whole new level, which is really cool. All right, so first up, there we go. First up, Amelia Street Pizza is opening a permanent location in Hazel Park. This pizza is fantastic, by the way. They have been a pop-up and a food truck. They're very grassroots. They are backed by, I forgot. Oh, Mabel Gray. So they're backed by Mabel Gray. They're not controlled by Mabel Gray. It's going to be a completely different menu, but the founders of Mabel Gray has helped this gentleman out in opening his new location, making his dream a reality. Now, they were over at Frame Bar at one point in time, which was formerly Joe Bar, which is now closed. So Frame Bar, if you guys remember, in Hazel Park, was a really cool pop-up where chefs could come and test out new menus. They could come and try and do their own little pop-ups. And we had people that not only came in from Metro Detroit to Frame Bar, but we had chefs from Chicago or Mexico or Spain, different places where they could come in, do their menu for like 3 or 4 weeks, test some stuff out, and then get on out of here. They also did a Harry Potter themed dinner every year, which was very cool in January. I've been several times. So Amelia was there as well, and now they're getting their own location. I cannot wait to go. Now, the question is, guys, who does have the best pizza in Metro Detroit? Go ahead and throw that in the comments while I'm bringing up the next one, because I got my opinion. And yes, I have my opinion. That is for sure. Oh, was there anything else on that one before I flip out? Oh, yeah. Zingerman's property closes for some upgrades. That's great. Whatever. New Asian. Okay, yeah, we got all this on the next one. Good. I got a Jets. I mean, Jets is good. Jets is good, my guy. Look, Jets is a fine pie. There's no saying otherwise, but it is not the pie. And yes, I will fight you on that. Got a Grandma Bob's. All right. I knew somebody had to put Louis. Somebody always puts Louis when it's all about the best pizza in the area. You know what? Louis guy, I'm going to give you the win. I'm going to give you the W on that one. There we go. Okay. Hamlin Pub is taking over the location where the Statler was, downtown Detroit in the 303 Park building. So Hamlin Pub, now this will be its 12th location across Metro Detroit. And it is a pub. So the Statler closed Down. They were a French-American bistro. They were going to redo their menu and revamp closer to a American-French bistro. I don't know what the difference would be. But the owner, who's also the owner of like all the Andiamos and Birmingham Pub and those types of places, he had decided to take a step back and instead partner up with Hamlin and make the space into the 12th Hamlin Pub. Now, this is set to open on April 3rd, 2026. Why is that date living in infamy? Because it is also Tigers opening day. So if you were there, Tigers opening day, feel free to stop by Hamlin Pub. They're probably going to be doing some sort of a party as they do. I've actually been to a couple of the other ones. It is definitely worth going to. They have good food, good vibe, good atmosphere. They do a nice job. So there we go. And that's right there on the corner where the 313 apartment building is. The one that's in trouble, actually. Like those guys are actually declaring Chapter 11. All right. Let's get this one up here. Now, there are multiple other restaurants opening in Metro Detroit. There we go. There we go. So there are 16 new restaurants opening up in Detroit and Metro Detroit to get excited about. I read through this list. Out of the 16, I am only excited about 7. Just being honest. Okay, let's go. Let's run down this. All right, Lola's Taco Bar over in Grosse Pointe Woods. This is actually really good because this is a Michelin chef that is actually coming back to Michigan that's opening up a taco bar. A Michelin chef. So this is what I mean by Detroit and Metro Detroit has finally elevated itself. So it's a building process. I had the conversation with a friend who said, oh my God, we got no great food in Metro Detroit and Detroit. No, we do not yet, but we do now. Over the last couple of years, we have had James Beard semifinalists coming in, which is great. Or here, like Ema was a James Beard semifinalist, which is a fantastic restaurant, by the way. Get down to Corktown and go to Ema if you haven't been to Ema, for Ema's sake. But now we're attracting not only James Beard semifinalists, but James Beard winners. And now that we've got James Beard winners that were on their radar, now we got Michelin. And that's how the building process goes. So expect more Michelin out of 2026, 2027, 2028 as the food scene in Metro Detroit continues to elevate. And right there, Lola's is a very good example of that. We've got the Beverly over in Berkeley. That's actually that's finally opening, which is cool. The Beverly is going to be more of a brunch spot. It is imagined by the same owners of Bar Pagal, the French cuisine in downtown Detroit, which is very good. One of the things I like about Bar Pagal is that the food's very good. The second thing I like about it is that it has its own parking lot across the street. I just like that because parking in downtown is obnoxious, especially spending $40 or $50 just to park. Ooh. Sunda New Asian, which is over on Columbia, is finally going to be opening. I feel like I've been waiting for this place for months and months and months. Every time I go down to Comerica Park, I feel like I walk by this on the way to or from JoJo's Shake Bar, and I'm like, I want something different. And then I stare at this for a minute, and then I kind of walk away. So finally, that's a good one. Calamities in Southwest. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. It's a pizza place inspired by Filipino cooking. Now, Nuevo Sol did something similar to this, which was like an Asian and Mexican fusion, and it turned out fantastic. So I'm hopeful, but we'll see. Little Liberia and West Village. Okay. We got Joe Louis Southern Kitchen. Another location is opening up. That'll be the third one. If you haven't been to Joe Louis Soul Food Kitchen, guys, go. Coco Chop House over in Rochester. This place is going to seat 700. It's got dry aged steaks, dry aged seafood, house made pastas with a focus on reducing kitchen waste, I guess. So this used to be the Bigalora space that shut down in Rochester, and this is who's going in here. Yep. Dancing Pine Korean Steakhouse in Novi. I don't know. I have a feeling on this one either way. You guys tell me what you guys think. Medusa in Midtown. Okay. So Anthony Lombardo is coming up with another concept to put over on Selden, which is Medusa. It's going to specialize specifically in Sicilian cuisine. So not Northern Italian, not Southern Italian, but Sicilian. I'm actually really curious about how this is going to go. I think it's going to go well. I really do. Let me know what you guys think. Danny Meyer Restaurant over in downtown Detroit. Okay, so this is one of New York's aspiring top chefs and restaurateurs. He has done several restaurants, and he has earned several, I believe it was 20. He's been involved in 20 James Beard Award-winning restaurants and Michelin star-winning restaurants. This is what I mean. So this is really cool. So Meyer founded Union Square Hospitality Group back in 1985. And since then, there it is. Yeah, 24 James Beard Awards and a Michelin stars. God, that's crazy. Good for him. So that's going to be cool. So Rock and Brews in Royal Oak. Okay, this is where, and I always forget the name of it. It's not Jamaica Joe's, but this is where Hopcat was. So it's the 3 stories where Hopcat was, the main story, middle story, and then the rooftop that Hopcat had closed out of. And then a couple years later, they moved over to Main Street in Royal Oak to a smaller space, smaller footprint. So this is backed by Kiss's Gene Simmons and who is the other one? Oh gosh, I don't even remember. God, who is the other one? Oh, Paul Stanley. There we go. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. So these are in Florida, California, a couple other places right now. They're really popular. They're more of an experience. It's not like a Hard Rock hotel. It's more of an experiential type of a thing. And then the brothers, Pat and Tony Yesbeck, Tony and Danny Yesbeck are partnering with them and bringing this concept to Michigan after they have found it out of state, and they love this so much. JD's Bistro in Chelsea. That'll be nice. Bev's Bagel in Ann Arbor, Waka and Easter Market. Those are actually not new news. Amelia, we talked about that. Okay, we can move on. I talked about Lola's. Yep, Rock and Brews. Oh, there we go. Okay, so here's a little bit of good news for Detroit and Metro Detroit. And you guys tell me what you think. And thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to share, subscribe. Actually, just subscribe and like. Yep. So we do go live every single week talking about everything happening in Metro Detroit. Again, guys, don't forget to subscribe, like the video so more people can see it. And we are on to our next story. Boom. The murder rate in Detroit falls below 200 for the first time in 6 decades, per the police chief. Okay. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the numbers were 202 murders in 2024, dropping all the way to 165 in 2025. Now, I put up a couple of posts on this. I've gotten a lot of flack by how things are counted, not counted, treated, not treated. I cannot comment on any of that. All I know is that crime in Detroit and in Metro Detroit, also, all of the cities are reporting this, has been steadily declining. A couple of cities went up a little bit last year, but most of them have been steadily declining for the last couple of years, which is great. And there are a couple of reasons for this. One of them is Project Greenlight. So not the last police commissioner, but the one before it put out their Project Greenlight. If you go into Detroit, into some of the neighborhoods, but also a lot of the buildings, you're going to see a green light on the building, literally. And it signals to people that that building has opted in for additional surveillance that ties directly into the Detroit police. In addition to that, those neighborhoods have opted in for additional surveillance. One of the examples is University District. In addition to that, they've also brought out their own patrol. So crime has become negligible in some of these places like there, Palmer, Sherwood, Boston Edison, things like that. That's number one. Number two, as you all know, Detroit has been experiencing a little bit of an economic boom. You might have heard that in the news. Anytime you see economics improve, you see crime come down. It's just a fact of life. Just a fact of life. And number three, more police are on the street than before. Like if you look at the time of Mayor Archer to Kwame, we saw a 1/3 reduction in the number of boots on the street, number of police officers that were actually on the street doing actual police work on a day-to-day basis because a lot of them were just promoted. Now we've got the boots back on the street. So there was a time there, and I remember this. I was showing a home in Detroit. And my client at the time lived in Rosedale. And she called me and said, hey, look, I'm not going to make the appointment. I said, why? And she said, I was carjacked in my driveway. I said, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. What happened with the police? And she's like, well, I haven't seen the police. I said, why? Well, they don't come out for carjackings. True story. Now, we are so far away from that. The police are prevalent. You can feel, especially downtown, you can just feel their presence. I had a friend that got into a car accident right there across from well, not across from, but pretty close to Comerica Park, right? Literally, the police were there in about a minute. We barely called them. It was refreshing. Anyway, so we're seeing Detroit decline from the peak. Of course, the peak being in the 1970s, before the or after the riots, should I say? The riots themselves, it was not as high. But we're finally seeing that number curtail, which I really appreciate. And I know, is Detroit still a dangerous place? Absolutely. I'm not saying otherwise. But I am saying that we have fallen from the number 1 most dangerous city to the number 5 most dangerous city, and we're going to be dropping further as time goes on. That I can say. And I love so much. All right, what's the next story we got? Okay, now this was interesting to me because we've been covering this extensively lately. So one of the big controversial things, let me see. Come on. Share screen. Hello. There we go. Okay. Ooh, my software is dying on me. I cannot believe we're coming up on an hour, guys. Boom. So one of the big controversial things happening in Southeast Michigan, specifically Saline and South Lyon right now, are big $7 billion plus data centers are going in that nobody wants. There have literally been protests about this. Well, Northville City Council decided to take a proactive step, and they all unanimously put a 12-month ban on even discussing data centers within Northville's limits. So this was a very proactive thing that they're doing, because there have been, whether it's South Lyon or Saline, the residents really don't want these there. It's really interesting that Northville went ahead and just said, you know what, we don't want them either. So we're just going to take this proactive step to make sure that they're not coming into our town or even being proposed proposed over the next 12 months. Now, there are 19 total data centers proposed for the state of Michigan. It's going to be in excess of $50 billion worth of investment in infrastructure. But comment also what you guys think about the data centers. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you care? Do you care that they're closed loop versus evaporative systems coming into Michigan? Like, that makes a difference, but does it really make a difference? Comment below what your thoughts are. I want to know. All right, let's see what's next. Ooh, we've only got 4 more to go, guys. Okay, now this is something that we should definitely all be complaining about because this is irritated. Okay. If you're going to write one nasty review in 2026, this is the one. DTE is now starting to charge when you use a credit card to pay your bill. Okay, let me back this up. This is why I'm irritated with this. So they raised the rates about 18 months ago. They raised the rates again about 10 months ago after finding that there was so much waste, including private planes for personal vacations and all this different nonsense. And now DTE is saying, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and Metro Detroit Public, we're going to go ahead and put a $2.99 fee for every credit card. Why are they doing this? Because they tried to raise rates again and the state said no. So now they're finding a different way to get their money. I don't appreciate this. I think that somebody needs to audit DTE. I mean, Nestle, come on. Where's our AG for the state of Michigan, our Attorney General? Somebody needs to audit DTE and say, hey, look, we're going to have to hold you accountable and we're going to make some heads roll. Comment if you believe that that is the case, or you think that $2.99 plus the 2 raises that DTE has put in over the last 18 months is completely fair and reasonable and should be done. I want to hear what your opinion is, Metro Detroit. I want to hear your opinion on whether or not we should be really looking into the books better of what's going on over there at DTE. Not to mention, we got the data centers coming in. That's going to soak up a lot of electricity. And studies have shown that data centers make electricity and energy use more expensive for the residents around those data centers. So I want to know more about what your thoughts are on that. I can't wait to see the comments on this one. Ugh, irritated. All right. Yeah, we'll talk about real estate. Why? Because I'm a realtor. That's right. I put the tour in realtor. Okay, this is actually really cool. Let me see. I always like to show one beautiful house per live, and I found the one that I wanted to show. There we go. All right. The Fisher Mansion, which is the crown jewel residential property in Detroit, is back up for sale, and it's up for $7 million. Now, this thing is bonkers. Let's take a look at that. 24,000 square feet, 15 bedrooms, 15 bathrooms. I'm not even kidding. This thing is huge. And it's over in Palmer Woods, right? But look at these pictures. It's amazing. So this property, they originally bought it for $1.55 million and are now putting it back on the market at $7 million. But this thing, I mean, when you say estate, this is what people think of. And it's gorgeous. Oh, the gated entry. And the work inside, when we get there, is just mind-blowing. Okay, look at that woodwork. You cannot even recreate that. Not down with the rug. Let me know if you're down with the rug. If that's a thing, great. But that detail work. Here we go. Now we're getting to the rooms that I love so much on this property. Like that kind of stonework and limestone, we're just not finding that anymore. Oh my gosh, look at the windows. That detail is amazing. Wow. Literally stunning. Literally stunning. Yeah, so this kind of attention to detail and this kind of craftsmanship just does not exist in this day and age. Like, I don't even know what it would cost to recreate something like this, but it has to be astronomical. So $7 million, guys, let me know. Is this your house for $7 million? Anybody want to get together and pull some money together and go buy this thing? Oh, well, that doesn't match the house. That's too modern. Yeah. That's probably the only thing they could do with it. Oh, that's a cool looking. I love the windows. Nice solarium. Oh, that indoor pool's amazing. It's like lifetime gym at your house. I mean, the Kresge Mansion just sold. It fetched $2 million. We just sold one in Boston Edison that we put on the market at $500,000. That thing went fast too. A lot of interest just right there out the gate. Just sold one in University District. So we do work throughout the 5-county area. I'm going to shamelessly plug my team because I think they're amazing. We have over 5,000 5-star reviews. We help families every single day. We've helped over 8,000 families buy and sell in Metro Detroit and Greater Ann Arbor. And guys, I'd be honored to get the call to help you find or sell your next property. Call us. We're here. Stunning. All right, guys, 2 more stories. Here we go. I'm sorry, 1 more story. Okay, so this is something that's happening ongoing right now. This is the discussion, okay? There we go. Mary Sheffield, one of the things that she ran on was lowering Mary Sheffield, one of the things that she ran on was lowering property tax for the residents of Detroit, Michigan. Now, this is not just the Detroit problem. In all 3 counties and 5-county area, homeowners are getting hit with very, very large bills when they're buying their next property. I'll tell you more about why that is in a minute. But there was one family that was on the news recently where they had bought a duplex in the city of Detroit down in Midtown thinking, okay, we're going to relocate from Florida and make this home. The previous taxes were $3,500 a year. They got hit with a $19,000 plus almost $20,000 tax bill year 1. Now, absorbing $100 or $200 a month is almost expected when you buy a home. When you're absorbing over $1,000 a month, that puts people into bankruptcy. So one of the things that Mayor Sheffield is looking at is a 1% a 1% sales tax on anything bought or sold inside the city of Detroit. It could yield up to $72 million, right? Now that $72 million combined with the $105 million surplus that we had last year could go towards reducing tax bills in the city of Detroit anywhere from 11 to 21%, right? Which is a good thing. It's moving in the right direction. It is also important to note that the city of Detroit specifically is sitting at 63 mils per thousand right now, which is 20 mils above almost everybody in the suburbs. Not everybody, but a lot of people in the suburbs, like Novi, Northville, Milford, all of those towns, Royal Oak, Rochester, Oakland Township, Shelby Township, Utica are all way lower. So you buy that same house in, let's say, Shelby Township for $500,000 versus Detroit, that same house, the taxes in Detroit are going to be $5,000 to $7,000 more for the same property. So the goal with the local 1% sales tax is to generate revenue in a different way that can be applied towards property taxes to offset those property taxes. So here's one of the issues. Detroit has been the fastest appreciating market in the United States, Corktown specifically, over the last 24 months. We actually beat out Miami, with Corktown going up 100% in 18 months, literally. Now, when all of those things appreciate, then the state equalized value goes up. Now, the taxable value is capped at either the inflation rate or 5%, whichever one is lower, right? Now, once they sell that property, so let's say I bought a property 30 years ago in Detroit, or even 2008 in Detroit, and I fought my taxes all the way down to, I don't know, like that Corktown couple, $3,500. Or let's say in my parents' neighborhood over in Farmington Hills, where their taxes are currently around $7,000. Now, once that property sells, that taxable value uncaps and recaps at the state equalized value. In my parents' case in Farmington Hills, that $7,000 is going to become $13,500 for the next person. That's an additional over $500 per month. Or in Corktown with that young couple, $3,500 became $19,500. It's egregious, right? Whoever buys my house next, my taxes are literally going to go up $6,600 for that next couple because I've owned my home for a long time. So that's the problem, right? During COVID especially, everything got superheated and values went up. But the formula that's used to calculate how much is paid in taxes for the next owner has remained the same and unchanged. So that's what the cities have to figure out. And I'm talking about all cities in Metro Detroit. Detroit is looking at a 1% sales tax with which to get that done. And I'd like to hear from you guys this year. Is that a good idea? Are we moving down the right path, doing a 1% sales tax, plus using a lot of that $105,000 or $105 million surplus from 2025 to try to offset some of that income tax? Because I'm looking at homes in like Sherwood and Palmer and Boston Edison and those where the taxes could go up and exceed 30, 35, and even 40,000 per year based on the current millage rate when the next person buys it. That's prohibitive. It's going to stop growth, not only in Michigan, but Metro Detroit and Detroit. I mean, if you look at a house and you're like, oh my gosh, this person's paying 6,000 in taxes, I'll be paying 25,000. You're going to buy the house? Probably not. So that is what one thing we need to solve for here in Metro Detroit. Otherwise, you're either going to get slapped in the face with a big tax bill and just not even know it, like that young couple did, and shaming that realtor for doing a poor job. As a real estate agent, I can tell you right now, I can estimate any next owner's taxes in about 60 seconds. That's really all it takes. So shame on that real estate agent for not taking the 60 seconds to say, hey guys, I know you want to make an offer on this property. FYI, I know this could endanger my commission check, but when you buy the property, you will be paying this amount in tax. That was the right thing to do. Comment if you disagree. Comment if you agree. But that's our last story for the evening, guys. Let me know how we did. Throw in some comments. Any questions revolving anything that you watched tonight. I'm going to come back, and I always come back and filter through, and I do go back and hit every single comment with a personal response. It's always well thought out. And as you know, if you know me, you've been watching me for a while, you know I don't take sides. I don't care about politics. Truth is truth. And I think that a lot of our news and a lot of our media, unfortunately, is now falling down on one side or the other, or they're going after sensationalism, which is why I try to spend an hour or so with you guys every Thursday night, kind of going through what's happening here in our local area and some of the national stuff on the national stage that affects us, and reading the tea leaves and really deciphering it from a financial background and what it actually means to you and your family and how it impacts you. My name is Mike Perna. I'm a local real estate agent. I'd be honored to get the call to help you and your family purchase or sell your next home. And until next week, Metro Detroit, be good.